Have you ever wondered, if one day you were transported back to prehistoric times, tens of thousands of years ago, when humans still lived in caves and did not know about technology, what would your life be like? Did prehistoric people only know how to hunt, eat grilled meat by the fire and sleep, or did they have a richer and more meaningful life than we ever thought? Let's travel back in time to discover a typical day of prehistoric man, from dawn until dusk. Prehistoric people did not have alarm clocks, but they had nature. When the first light entered the cave, the birdsong and the sounds of wild animals echoed. The group began to wake up. The first thing after opening their eyes was not brushing their teeth, but checking for safety. Were there any traces of wild animals around the area? Were there any intruders? The fire from last night was lit, for fire is a treasure, for warmth, cooking and protection. Some went to fetch water, others to gather wood. Children do not sit still. They are tasked with picking up fallen fruit, picking up stones, or running after adults to learn survival skills. Everything revolves around survival. In the imagination, prehistoric people hunted mammoths every day. But in reality, hunting was dangerous and not always successful. Young, strong men gathered in groups. Their weapons were primitive, wooden spears, stone points, simple bows and arrows. They observed footprints, smelled the wind, listened to every sound. A hunt could last all day. The target is usually a moderately strong animal, such as deer, wild boar, rabbit, bird. If they are lucky and have enough people, they can take down a mammoth or bison, but the risk is extremely high. Hunting is not only for meat, but also a place to forge team spirit. Trust each other, coordinate well, share the danger. In fact, most of the food of prehistoric people did not come from hunting, but from gathering. About 70% of the diet was vegetables, wild fruits, seeds and roots. Women and children took care of this. They traveled in small groups, carrying baskets made of vines or animal skins. The knowledge of identifying edible, poisonous and medicinal plants was passed down from generation to generation. In addition to fruits and tubers, they also catch insects, dig for wild tubers, look for honey, and catch crabs and fish in streams. The work seems easy, but it requires an excellent memory, remembering each tree, which season has fruit, and where there are edible roots. When there was food, prehistoric people did not just survive. They also knew how to be creative. In caves, archaeologists found paintings of animals and hunting scenes. These were not only decorative but also ritualistic. As a prayer for a successful hunt, they made jewelry from bones, animal teeth, and shells, both for beauty and to show social status. They communicated with cries, gestures, and rudimentary musical instruments, such as stone drums and bone flutes. That was the foundation for human language later on. In the evening, the whole group gathered around the fire, telling stories and passing on experiences. That was the first school of humanity. The elderly and children are not burdens. The elderly are living knowledge stores. They remember how to find medicine, read traces of nature, give hunting instructions. Children learn by observing and playing. They pretend to throw spears, play fruit picking, practice making fires. Every game is a lesson in survival. It is this division of roles that helps the community to unite and survive. So, what did prehistoric people do all day? They hunted, gathered, cared for each other, created art, communicated, and gathered around fires. Their lives were harsh, but full of community, intelligence, and creativity. Compared to us today, they had no technology, no internet, but they had remarkable survival skills and strong bonds. It was these simple people who laid the foundations for human civilization. So if you lived in that era, would you want to hunt, gather, or paint in caves? Try to imagine and leave your thoughts.